I was 24 when I finally moved out of my parents' place and got my first apartment. An old brick building, fourth floor, creaky hardwood floors and high ceilings. The landlady, an older woman, told me no one had really lived there for a while before me. The last tenant had moved out pretty suddenly, in the middle of winter, and left behind half his furniture. I didn't think much of it at the time. A cheap furnished apartment in a decent area felt like a win, so I didn't ask too many questions. I moved in on a Friday evening with my brother's help. We hauled boxes up, he helped me put my bed together, and he left around 10. I was alone in the apartment, surrounded by boxes, pretty happy with myself. The first couple of days were normal. The only thing that bugged me a little was the sounds in the walls at night. The landlady had warned me the building was old, that the radiators made noise as they cooled down after the heat kicked off. I chalked it up to that. On the third night, I woke up around 3 a.m. to the sound of footsteps. Not next door, inside my apartment, in the hallway between my bedroom and the kitchen. Slow, even footsteps, like someone walking without any rush, like they were getting used to the space. I froze. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. I told myself it was just the old floors reacting to the temperature change. The radiators heated up during the day and cooled off at night, and the wood would creak as it contracted. The footsteps stopped right outside my bedroom door. Then, nothing. Just this long, heavy silence where I was scared to even breathe too loud. I laid there for maybe 20 minutes before I worked up the nerve to get up and check. I turned on my phone flashlight and walked out into the hallway. Nothing there. The kitchen was empty. The front door was locked from the inside, both locks, exactly how I'd left it. I told myself it was just nerves. First night alone in a new place. The next week was quiet. I'd almost forgotten about it. Then things started moving. At first I figured I was just forgetting where I put stuff. A mug I'd left on the kitchen table would show up in the sink. A book I'd been reading before bed, one I always left on my nightstand, ended up on the floor one morning, open to the middle, even though I remembered closing it and marking my page. I started taking pictures of how I left things before bed, just to prove to myself I wasn't losing it. 2 days later, I had proof. In the photo, the mug's on the table. In the morning, it's in the sink, washed, completely dry, like it hadn't been touched in hours. I sent the photos to a friend, asked her if I was going crazy. She half joked that maybe I had a poltergeist. I wasn't really in the mood for jokes. That night, I decided not to sleep. I sat in the living room with the lights on, just watching. Around 2 a.m., I heard the same footsteps again, this time coming from the kitchen. I sat completely still, staring down the dark hallway. The footsteps got closer, then stopped right at the entrance to the living room, maybe 6 feet from me. I could see a shadow stretched across the floor, the shadow of a person, standing completely still, like they were listening for something. I couldn't scream, couldn't move. After a few seconds that felt like forever, the shadow pulled back, like whoever it was had turned around and walked back down the hallway. I heard the bathroom door creak softly, and then it was quiet again. The second the shadow disappeared, so did whatever was left of my composure. I grabbed my phone and called 911 with shaking hands, without leaving the living room, because I was scared that if I walked toward the hallway, the footsteps would start again. The police showed up fast. The officer checked the apartment, the front door, the windows. No signs of forced entry anywhere. He asked the landlady who had keys to the unit and whether the locks had ever been changed. She said no, not since she'd started renting the place out years ago. He wrote it down, but you could tell from his face he didn't love that answer. The moment they left, I packed up some of my things and moved back in with my parents that same morning. My dad didn't buy any of it. Said I was just stressed from the move and running on no sleep. My mom got worried and told me to stay with them as long as I needed while I figured out what to do. Over the next few days, I went back to grab the rest of my stuff a little at a time. The apartment was technically still mine through the end of the month. On one of those trips, in the hallway by the bathroom door, I found something that hadn't been there before. Sitting on the floor, almost like someone had placed it there on purpose, was a key. Not mine. Old, brass, tarnished with age, with the number 17 scratched into the head. My apartment number was 12. I showed it to the landlady right away. She went pale, turned it over in her hands, and said she had no idea where it came from. The units in the building had never been renumbered. I asked her straight up what happened to the last tenant, why he moved out so suddenly in the middle of winter. She got quiet and changed the subject fast, and I didn't push it any further. By the end of that week, I made my final trip back to grab the last of my things. On my way out, the woman who lived on the first floor stopped me in the stairwell. She'd been in the building over 20 years. She mentioned she'd noticed the police car outside a few days earlier and wanted to know if everything was okay. I told her part of the story, leaving out the key. She was quiet for a moment, then told me that years ago, a girl had gone missing from the apartment on the 4th floor. The case was never solved. Since then, she said, nobody in that unit ever stuck around very long. I loaded the last box into my car, lost part of my deposit, and honestly didn't care. I never found out whose key that was, why 17 was scratched into it, or what happened to that girl. The landlady took the key back from me the day I handed it over, and I never asked what she did with it. Sometimes, falling asleep in my apartment now, I catch myself listening, waiting to hear those same slow, even footsteps in the hallway. So far, nothing. But I still check the lock on my front door twice, every single night.